At the end of the driveway, hoping it might catch somebody's attention.
Charlie Stephen and his wife are stuck behind more than a football field's length of snow.
It's been a rough battle. Still haven't found anybody to plow the driveway.
Stephen took to social media, begging for assistance, saying he missed his medical appointment.
I don't know how the hell we get out of here. You didn't need a helicopter, I think.
People blocked by walls of snow walked for essentials, while others had to use a skidoo or quad just to get around.
No one's gonna come home, so we're doing it.
Up to 150 centimeters of snow is being reported in many areas of Cape Breton, and there is not enough equipment to keep up. When help is arriving is yet to be determined. Yesterday, Nova Scotia's premier questioned why a state of emergency was declared, calling it a PR issue by the municipality. Today, he apologized.
They're doing what they think is necessary. But I think what I was trying to say, and I didn't say it very well, and I certainly I feel very bad about that, is that nobody was waiting to spring into action until that was made.
Cars are still buried in this parking lot, and this apartment had to be evacuated after the heavy snow damaged part of the roof. Most of the residents are staying at this hotel, waiting to go back home.
If someone needs an emergency or something, it'd be nice if, they had the infrastructure in place to kind of just have it done, as soon as possible.
There are still so many side roads that need to be cleared in Cape Breton. And then there's the rural roads. Nova Scotia's premier says those won't be cleared until at least Friday. Omar.
All right, Grayson, thank you. The historic storm slamming the American West Coast is on the move for a third straight day. In Los Angeles, first responders pulled out a man from the raging waters. He had jumped in to save his dog. Both are now safe. In Northern California, strong winds were the worry. This woman barely escaped. The onslaught of rain triggered nearly 400 mudslides, including in some of the most high-end neighborhoods. The damage may hit $11 billion U.S. There is also a cost to higher grocery prices. More people are turning to food banks just to get by. Today, Ottawa unveiled new measures to investigate higher food prices. But as CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver reports, there are questions about whether the federal government needs to spend in order to help Canadians save.
Instead of browsing grocery aisles, more and more Canadians are turning to the shelves at local food banks like the Canada Food Cupboard, where demand is up 55% since the pandemic began and costs have nearly doubled.
We used to be able to give our families a 10-pound bag of potatoes. With the increase in the price of potatoes, we're now having to give out only 5 pounds. So we're having to adjust the volumes of food that we're giving out.
Food inflation has increased from 2.8% in January 2019 to a peak of 10.4% in January 2023. Now it's sitting at 5% and still well above overall inflation.
It's hard to stretch that dollar, and in a lot of cases, food is the thing that they spend the least on because they don't have any money left over.
Ottawa is spending $5 million to investigate soaring grocery prices. The industry minister has been working with grocery giants to bring costs down, but recently Metro announced it's upping prices.
No, I'm not satisfied, and I always want more for consumers because this is not about us, it's not about the government, it's about all of us as Canadians.
But experts aren't sure what that money will actually do.
Who knows what it's for? To good marketing, maybe. The root causes of inflation, the shrinkflation and greedflation, are being well known.
High energy costs, labor shortages, and higher wages are all factors linked to the rise in food prices. So are spiking input costs for food producers who say they've been struggling to pay the bills for years, and the problem is only getting worse.
44% of our growers are operating at a loss presently, and 3/4 have difficulty offsetting production cost increases.
The federal government is looking at increasing competition as one way to bring down grocery prices, with the industry minister currently courting international grocers. Omar?
All right, Annie, thank you. Donald Trump is courting voters ahead of November's presidential election. And tonight he is using a legal blow to fire up his supporters. Today, an appeals court rejected Trump's claims that he is immune from prosecution. And that means he can face trial on charges he plotted to overturn the results of the 2020 election. Here's CTV's Washington Bureau Chief Joy Malvin.
God bless the USA. It's become a rallying cry at Donald Trump events.
You have to give the president full and total immunity.
But a federal appeals court slapped down Trump's claim that he is somehow shielded from prosecution. Trump has pleaded not guilty to plotting to overturn the 2020 election that led to that deadly attack on the Capitol by Trump supporters January 6th. In a unanimous ruling, the three judges didn't mince words, saying such immunity would collapse America's constitutional system of separate powers. And we cannot accept that the office of the presidency places its former occupants above the law for all time. Saying for the purpose of this case, President Trump has become Citizen Trump and can be prosecuted. Lashing out on social media, Trump said every future president will now face the opposite party's vicious retribution after leaving office. And he has his Republican defenders who insist this was not criminal.
President Donald Trump did not engage in insurrectional rebellion against the United States. Democrat operatives are attempting to use this lie to illegally take President Trump off the ballot.
Facing 91 charges in all, Trump's strategy has been to delay and delay his trials while he campaigns for the Republican nomination. Already fundraising off his latest legal loss, a former rival made this bold prediction.
My guess is that he would be more likely than not a convicted felon when he gets on the stage at the nominating convention.
Why this matters, voters have told pollsters in swing states that if Trump was convicted of a crime, they'd think twice about voting for him. Trump says he will appeal to the Supreme Court. Omar?
All right, Joy, thank you. And joining us now for more on what this all means is CTV News political analyst Eric Ham. Eric, Trump and his legal team have until Monday to file an appeal with the U.S. Supreme Court. What's the likelihood that the highest court will even take up this case?
It's unclear if, in fact, the Supreme Court will take this case up because, one, we know that the judges were all unanimous in the decision, but also it was a very thorough, compelling, and just overall rebuke of Donald Trump and his claim of immunity. So it's unclear if or what issues the Supreme Court would actually address. And also, because it only requires 4 judges to actually decide to reject a particular case, we know the 3 liberal justices on the court will certainly do so. And the wild card always remains the Chief Justice, John Roberts, and it's unclear what he will do in a situation like this.
Now, as we heard, Trump is already using this legal setback to generate money for his campaign. But looking ahead, how damaging could this be for his re-election bid?
Well, not damaging at all, because we know that Donald Trump has always been playing for time, and this loss is still going to do a lot to generate resources for his base. What Donald Trump is concerned about is actually if this case actually gets back on the docket for the trial that is set to begin in March. And so if that happens, that could be potentially damaging.